Love is a miracle. She thought she would marry a disabled person, but a big surprise awaited her at the wedding. "Hello, Miss Lily Evans?" Lily clutched her phone more tightly, her heart stuttering in her chest. She was standing in a cramped hospital corridor, the strong smell of disinfectant filling her nostrils. Outside, dusk was settling over the city, turning the sky a bruised purple. She was here as she had been every day for the past week, because her mother lay in a bed just 2 rooms away, frail, unconscious, and in dire need of a costly operation. "Yes, this is Lily." Her voice trembled, betraying her anxiety. "My name is Charles Givens," the caller said, his tone crisp but not unkind. "I'm an attorney representing Mr. Adam Beckett. He asked me to contact you regarding an arrangement that may solve your financial difficulties." Lily swallowed. An arrangement? Her stomach churned with a mix of anticipation and dread. She had exhausted every option trying to fund her mother's treatment, friends, distant relatives, even high-interest loans no one would grant her. Now, out of nowhere, a stranger's lawyer wanted to talk money. She pressed the phone closer. I'm not sure I understand." On the other end, Charles cleared his throat. "I'm aware of your mother's medical predicament. Mr. Beckett has taken an interest in offering assistance. However, this assistance is conditional. He would like to meet you as soon as possible to discuss the possibility of marriage." "Marriage?" Lily echoed in disbelief, so loudly that a nurse passing by shot her a curious glance. Heat rose to her cheeks. She turned away, lowering her voice. "Surely there's some mistake. I don't even know Mr. Beckett." "I understand," Charles replied calmly. "He asks only that you meet him in person before making any decisions. Should you choose to proceed, he will ensure your mother's hospital expenses are covered, including surgery and rehabilitation." Lily's free hand shook at her side. She thought of her mother's shallow breathing, the tubes and beeping monitors, the doctor's dire warnings if they couldn't operate soon. This phone call seemed unreal, like a cruel prank. Yet Charles's voice, though formal, did not sound malicious. She inhaled shakily. Can you tell me anything about Mr. Beckett?" Charles hesitated. "He is a man with certain physical limitations. He was involved in an accident many years ago. The specifics, however, are best left for him to explain personally." A physically disabled man. Lily felt a pang of guilt at the flash of relief inside her. Maybe he just wanted companionship and had the means to offer financial support in return. Her mother always said, "Life deals odd cards sometimes, you just have to decide how to play them." "All right," she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'll meet him." "Very well," Charles replied. "I will text you the details. Please come tomorrow afternoon. Mr. Beckett will be expecting you." He ended the call, leaving Lily rooted in place, her mind spinning. Any misgivings about how strange this all sounded were eclipsed by one thought. If this man can truly pay for Mom's surgery, can I refuse him? She turned toward her mother's room. Through a narrow window, she saw the frail figure lying motionless. The doctors had said the procedure must happen soon or there could be permanent damage to her mother's organs, or worse. With a resigned sigh, Lily walked in. She gently brushed stray hair away from her mother's forehead, tears prickling at the corners of her eyes. "Hang on, Mom," she whispered. "I might have found us a miracle." That night, she tossed and turned on the thin cot the hospital provided for overnight stays. Fear and hope dueled in her mind. A marriage contract. To a man she had never met. She doubted everything, yet each doubt was inevitably crushed by the reality of her mother's urgent need. The next day, Lily found herself stepping into a quiet, upscale cafe in one of the city's nicer districts. She'd never have come here on her own. She couldn't afford a cup of coffee that cost more than a meal. Her heart hammered as she scanned the tables. A neatly dressed man with salt and pepper hair lifted a hand in greeting, beckoning her over. Lily recognized him from the name Mr. Charles Givens on the business card he had texted. Next to him sat a man in a wheelchair, Adam Beckett. Adam had dark hair combed back neatly, a lean face, and warm, intelligent eyes. His posture in the wheelchair suggested long-term use. His legs were covered by a thin blanket. When Lily approached, Charles stood, and Adam extended a hand in greeting. "Miss Evans?" Adam said softly, his voice carrying a slight tremor. "Thank you for coming." Despite her nerves, Lily took his hand. "Thank you for agreeing to help my mother, if that's really what this is." Adam nodded, glancing at Charles. "Allow me a moment alone with Miss Evans, Charles." "Yes, sir." Charles walked off to a nearby table, giving them space. Adam folded his hands in his lap. "I won't insult your intelligence, Lily, I know how strange this must seem, but I promise I have no intention of harming you. I simply need a wife, on paper, at least, to strengthen my position within my family's affairs. And I'm willing to pay any amount to secure that arrangement." Lily tried to steady her breathing. "But why marriage? Why marriage?" Adam's gaze shifted, a flicker of pain crossing his features. "Because I can't trust people within my inner circle. They're all tied to my family's company, and many are eager to do my uncle's bidding. I need someone with no personal stake in my business, someone who genuinely needs help but isn't motivated by greed alone." His eyes, so intense, locked on hers. "I learned of your situation through, let's call it a mutual acquaintance, and I thought we might help each other." Despite her racing heart, Lily found a kernel of sympathy for the man. How lonely he must be, she thought, to need to hire a wife because he can't trust his own relatives. Still, the magnitude of this was overwhelming. "My mother's life is at stake," she said quietly. "I'll do whatever it takes to save her. But I'm not comfortable with deception. If we do this, I need to know more. About your family, about your condition, everything." Adam's lips twitched, almost a smile, but tinged with sadness. "I'll tell you as much as I can, Lily. And I promise, I won't exploit your desperation. I truly want this to be an arrangement that benefits us both, with mutual respect." They spoke for nearly an hour, Lily hesitantly sipping the coffee Adam insisted on ordering for her. By the end, she had the gist. Adam's uncle, Charles Beckett Sr., was angling to take control of the Beckett family's vast technology and real estate empire. Adam's parents, he claimed, had been wrongfully convicted of financial crimes years ago, thanks to orchestrations by this uncle. Adam himself had been in a car accident around the same time, leaving him partially disabled, or so he implied. Now, the uncle was pressing Adam to relinquish any remaining inheritance. Getting married, Adam believed, would give him certain protections and an aura of stability. "My uncle thinks I'm weak," Adam said bitterly, "but I have a plan to prove my parents' innocence and retake my place in the company, if I can survive the corporate and legal battles." Lily listened in silence, her chest tight. She realized that beneath the polite facade, Adam was deeply wounded. She empathized. After all, she was also in a desperate fight for the person she loved most in the world. Finally, Adam reached inside his jacket and pulled out a folder. Within this folder is a draft marriage contract. "Look it over. If you agree, you'll receive enough funds to cover your mother's surgery and any follow-up care. And if, at any point you feel unsafe or unhappy, you can leave. No penalty." The sincerity in his voice was surprising. Lily nodded, though her throat felt thick. "Thank you," she managed. In that moment, the nurse's frantic voice from the corridor echoed in Lily's mind, her mother's blood pressure dropping dangerously, the doctors shouting for her to step out. The memory spurred her on. She had no time to waste. "I'll sign," she whispered, heart pounding, "but only if you promise to keep my mother safe. And you must promise you won't hide crucial details from me." Adam met her gaze, solemn as stone. "I promise, Lily." And with that trembling vow, Lily's life changed forever. Lily, pressured by her mother's critical condition, agrees to Adam's startling proposal for a marriage of convenience. The next morning, Lily signed the contract. Though her hand shook at first, an odd calm settled over her as she put pen to paper. Within hours, Adam's lawyer wired the money for her mother's surgery to the hospital's account. Lily barely believed it until a bewildered hospital administrator confirmed the funds had arrived in full. Her mother was prepped for emergency surgery that very afternoon, and Lily stayed by her side until the nurses ushered her out of the operating room. She then sat in the waiting area, biting her nails, tears threatening to spill as fear gnawed her from the inside. Let everything be okay, she prayed silently, over and over. Several hours later, a doctor emerged with a tired smile, telling her the surgery had gone well, and that her mother had a solid chance of recovery. Lily broke down in relief, sobbing into her hands. "It's really happening. Mom's going to be okay." 2 days later, Lily found herself outside Adam Beckett's mansion. She felt almost dizzy from how quickly her circumstances had shifted. The imposing gates swung open at her arrival, revealing a winding driveway lined with manicured hedges. At the end stood a large, stately home built with gleaming stone and tall windows. Lily, gripping her small suitcase, approached the front steps. A uniformed housekeeper greeted her politely. "Welcome, Miss Evans," the woman said, gesturing Lily inside. "Mr. Beckett is waiting in the drawing room." Nerves twisted in Lily's stomach. She stepped through the threshold into an opulent foyer, marble floors, a grand staircase, and walls adorned with tasteful art. This is a whole different world, she thought, feeling self-conscious in her modest second-hand coat. She was led to a spacious living area filled with soft, elegant furniture. Adam sat by a large window, his wheelchair angled so he could look out at the garden. On hearing them, he turned, offering her a polite nod. "You made it," he said quietly, gesturing for her to sit in a plush armchair across from him. "How's your mother?" "She's stable," Lily replied, smiling. "Thank you for asking. The doctors say she'll need weeks, maybe months of rehab. But she's alive." "I can't thank you enough." Adam looked almost embarrassed. "I'm glad to help." He cleared his throat, motioning around. "I realize this home must feel overwhelming. I hope you'll grow comfortable here. A suite is prepared for you upstairs. You can come and go as you please, of course. I only ask that, whenever my uncle visits, or whenever there are certain corporate gatherings, we maintain the appearance of a genuine marriage." Lily fiddled with a loose thread on her sweater. "I understand. And I'll do my best." Though it was all so bizarre, Lily had to admit Adam was kind in his own reserved way. He'd arranged for her mother to be in one of the city's best hospitals, had already set up the personal nurse care for her post-op recovery, and now was offering Lily a comfortable life. That evening, Lily saw a side of Adam that was more guarded. He spent hours in a private study with an older gentleman named Marcus, who Lily suspected was an investigator or some sort of consultant. She couldn't catch more than snippets of their conversation, phrases like "reopen the case" and "prove the evidence was falsified." Later, as Lily passed by the study, she heard Adam's frustrated voice. "I'm telling you, my uncle used every trick in the book. My parents shouldn't be in prison. But no one dares stand up to him now." Her heart squeezed. She remembered the determination on Adam's face when he told her he wanted to free his parents from wrongful incarceration. More than pity, she felt genuine respect for this wounded man who refused to give up. Over the next few days, Lily adjusted to living in the mansion. She insisted on simple clothes and cooking some of her own meals, habits from her past. The housekeeper, Mrs. Carter, was astonished but acquiesced. Meanwhile, Adam seemed to juggle silent struggles, corporate conference calls, mountains of paperwork, and private therapy sessions in the mansion's gym, from which Lily was politely but firmly excluded. Despite the transactional nature of their arrangement, Lily found herself wanting to care for Adam. One evening she noticed the caretaker usually assigned to help Adam bathe and dress was absent. Lily knocked on Adam's door, hearing a low grunt from inside. When he permitted her to enter, she saw him half struggling to maneuver from his wheelchair onto the bed, trying to remove a stiff neck brace that he sometimes wore for additional support. The exhaustion etched on his features tugged at Lily's heart. "Let me help," she offered softly. His initial protest died on his lips as Lily gently assisted him, removing the brace, helping him arrange his legs on the bed. She realized with a pang that while he definitely had some mobility issues, he wasn't entirely helpless, yet he was either in pain or acting far more incapacitated than she'd expected. "Thank you," Adam muttered, a hint of embarrassment creeping into his voice. I'm not used to letting people see me like this." Lily gave him a small smile. "We're partners now, in a sense. It's okay." He studied her for a long moment, then his gaze dropped to the bedspread. "I appreciate it," he said quietly. In that moment, Lily sensed the wall between them cracking ever so slightly. The trust was still fragile, but it was there. Lily moves into Adam's mansion and experiences the gravity of his family conflict, as well as glimpses of his vulnerability. Though their marriage is contractual, genuine care begins to form between them. The days blurred into a routine of Lily visiting her mother at the hospital and returning to the mansion to assist Adam in small ways, whether by bringing him tea during late-night work sessions or simply offering a sympathetic ear. One afternoon, Lily was tending to the roses in the mansion's garden. She found the simple, repetitive action soothing when the gate buzzer sounded. A dark luxury car rolled in, and out stepped a tall, imposing figure flanked by two stern-faced associates. Lily slipped back into the house to find Adam in the foyer, his wheelchair facing the entry. His expression had turned stony. "Adam," the visitor drawled, approaching with casual arrogance. "You didn't bother to invite me to see your new bride. I had to come unannounced." Lily's stomach lurched. This must be the infamous uncle, Charles Beckett, sir. Indeed, his sharp suit and predatory gaze exuded power. Adam's mouth tightened. I didn't realize I needed your approval for personal matters, Uncle. Charles let out a low laugh, turning that cold gaze on Lily. So this is the young lady you married so suddenly, Mum. A shame I missed the wedding ceremony. His tone dripped with condescension. Lily mustered her composure. It was a private affair, she replied. We preferred something small. Charles's lips curled. Clearly. He glanced down at Adam. You know, the board is concerned about your ability to fulfill certain obligations. They think it might be better if you transferred your shares, especially now that you're weighed down by family matters. Adam's knuckles went white on the armrests. I'm not transferring anything. My parents built that company, and I hold what is rightfully mine. Charles's eyes narrowed. The tension was palpable. Lily felt the urge to step in, but something told her Adam needed to face his uncle directly. A slow smile spread on Charles's face. We'll see about that. Perhaps your new wife can help you see reason, assuming she's not just another opportunist out for your wealth. His gaze flicked over Lily in a way that made her skin crawl. Then he turned on his heel and strode out, his cronies trailing him like shadows. The door slammed, and Adam exhaled shakily, shutting his eyes. Lily stepped forward, resting a hand on his shoulder. You okay? He nodded, but his face was pale. My uncle has the entire board under his thumb. He forced my parents to sign documents that led to accusations of fraud. Now he's trying to do the same with me. Lily squeezed his shoulder gently. We'll figure it out. You're not alone. Adam's eyes softened as he gazed up at her. Thank you, Lily. That evening, Lily found Adam in his study, poring over thick files. As she set down a cup of chamomile tea, her eyes were drawn to a medical report half hidden beneath a ledger. It bore Adam's name in bold letters. She couldn't read all the details before he noticed her looking and quickly slid it away. Something about the single sentence she managed to glimpse, prognosis full mobility is possible with continued therapy, lodged in her mind. Wait, I thought he was permanently disabled. Lily thought, confusion flaring. She recalled the odd moments she'd observed him maneuvering with surprising ease. Was he more physically capable than he let on? Over the next few days, curiosity gnawed at her. During one of Adam's therapy sessions, she peered through a crack in the gym door. She watched in shock as Adam braced himself against parallel bars, took several halting steps, and then collapsed into a wheelchair as the therapist steadied him. He could walk, maybe not without pain or difficulty, but it was a far cry from the total reliance he often displayed. She felt a pang of guilt for spying. Still, she couldn't shake the question, why is he pretending to be completely disabled if he can actually stand or walk short distances? That night, Lily mustered her courage. As she found Adam in the living room, gazing at the fireplace's dancing flames, she approached softly and sat on the sofa opposite him. Adam, she began, voice tentative, I want you to know that you can trust me. If there's something more about your condition, about your ability to walk, you can share it. I won't judge. His eyes flicked up, surprise evident. For a moment, he looked like he might spill the truth. But then his gaze shuddered. I appreciate that, he said, a certain sadness creeping into his tone. But for now, let's just say my injuries are complicated. I'm doing my best to recover. Lily's chest tightened. She sensed that was only half the truth, but she nodded, not wanting to push too hard. Meanwhile, Lily's daily visits to her mother continued. Her mother had regained partial consciousness and recognized Lily between bouts of pain and sedation. Is your new husband kind? Her mother asked, brow furrowing in worry. He is, Lily answered with genuine fondness. He's been through a lot, Mom. I think that's why he seems so guarded. But he's good at heart. Her mother patted Lily's hand. Take care of each other, she whispered, voice raspy. Money can't buy real love, so if there's something real, hold on to it. Those words echoed in Lily's mind on the taxi ride back to the mansion. Is something real forming between Adam and me? She recalled the gentle moments, the way he smiled when she brought him tea, the way his eyes lit up with gratitude when she helped him. Despite the contract, Lily felt her emotions entangled in a way she never expected. Lily discovers Adam can stand and possibly walk, contradicting his supposed permanent disability. Tensions with Uncle Charles escalate, while Lily's bond with Adam deepens. The days leading up to the wedding, a ceremony orchestrated for the sake of appearances, were a whirlwind of tense preparations. Adam insisted on a small, private event at the mansion, less chance for his uncle to pull any outrageous stunts. Charles Givens, Adam's lawyer, took care of the legal side, making sure everything looked proper. One late afternoon, a mere 4 days before the ceremony, Uncle Charles burst into the mansion uninvited yet again. This time he brought his wife, Miranda Beckett. Miranda was as sharp-featured and cold-eyed as her husband. They glided into the foyer with arrogant confidence. "We heard about the wedding," Miranda cooed in a poisonous tone, "and we simply had to come by. It's so sudden. Are you sure you want to bind yourself to a woman of questionable background?" Her gaze flicked over Lily with thinly veiled disdain. Adam clenched his jaw. "Lily is my fiancée. I'll not tolerate any insult toward her." Charles advanced, a sneer twisting his lips. Such gall. "But I suppose it doesn't matter. Once the board realizes that your so-called disability doesn't prevent you from making reckless decisions, they'll side with me. And your share as well. Let's just say the company will soon be out of your hands." An electric tension crackled in the air. Lily felt anger burn in her chest. "Mr. Beckett, you have no right to dictate Adam's personal choices," she said firmly, stepping forward. "He's done nothing wrong by wanting a future of his own." Charles let out a cruel laugh. "Oh dear, you have no idea. Adam's parents tried to sabotage the company years ago and ended up behind bars for it. He's just as delusional if he thinks he can restore their tarnished aim." Adam's face blanched. "That's a lie," he said between clenched teeth. "You framed them." Miranda shrugged with mock innocence. "We simply reported their crimes. If a judge found them guilty, well, that's hardly our doing." Lily wanted to scream at their smugness, but Adam reached for her hand in a subtle gesture, calming her. "Leave," he said, voice low with fury. "We have wedding preparations, and we won't waste time on your threats." Charles studied his nephew for a long beat, eyes narrowed. "Fine, have your little wedding. But don't expect a happily ever after. Once the board meets next quarter, you'll be stripped of everything, and your precious wife can go back to whatever gutter she crawled out of." They swept out, leaving a suffocating silence in their wake. Lily trembled with anger and hurt. She was about to speak when she felt Adam's hand in hers again. "You see now why I can't afford to show weakness," he said, voice thick with emotion. "My uncle and aunt will stoop to anything. I'm sorry they insulted you." Lily shook her head, blinking back tears. "Don't apologize. I'm the one sorry that you have such vile people to deal with. You don't deserve this." Adam exhaled slowly, then squeezed her hand. "Thank you for standing by me." That night, Lily found Adam in the study, alone and staring at a photograph. Edging closer, she recognized the picture of a couple who must be his parents, a tall man with kind eyes, and a woman who looked regal yet gentle. They were smiling, arms wrapped around a younger Adam, who stood tall, clearly long before the accident. "My parents," Adam murmured. "This was taken shortly before everything fell apart. They were good people, Lily. My uncle wanted the company. He manipulated evidence, turning them into scapegoats for financial misdeeds. They never betrayed the Beckett name." His voice caught. "I'm close to proving it. If I can just get enough shareholders to listen and a good judge to reopen the case, they could be freed." Lily's heart ached. Without thinking, she placed a hand on his shoulder. He reached up, covering her hand with his. "I know I'm asking a lot of you," he said quietly. "But after the wedding, I plan to make my move, present the evidence I've gathered. My uncle might retaliate, though, and you might be in danger." She felt a tremor pass through him. Slowly, she circled around to face him, kneeling so they were eye to eye. "Adam, I'm with you. Come what may." For a moment, something unspoken passed between them, a closeness that felt deeper than their contractual agreement. Adam cupped her cheek lightly. Lily's breath caught as she realized that, at some point, her sense of obligation had turned into genuine care. She wanted to protect him, the same way he had saved her mother. Then the moment was gone, replaced by a certain timidity in his eyes. He withdrew his hand, rolling back a foot in his wheelchair. "We should get some rest," he said, voice hoarse. Shortly after midnight, Lily was lying awake in her room, mulling over the day's events, when she heard a thump in the corridor. Worried, she grabbed a robe and hurried out, only to see Adam down the hall, actually standing, on his own 2 feet. His silhouette wavered in the moonlight, his body braced against the wall. Her breath caught. "He really can walk." Before she could speak, Adam stumbled. He tried to catch himself, but fell heavily to the floor, letting out a muffled groan of pain. Lily rushed forward. "Adam," she whispered urgently, kneeling beside him. He winced, grabbing his left leg. In the dim light, she could see strain etched into his face. I thought I could make it to the therapy room," he murmured, voice tight. She slid an arm around his waist, helping him back to his wheelchair that had rolled a few feet away. He leaned on her for support, shockingly light in her grasp. "Thank you," he managed, regaining his seat. Lily swallowed hard, tears burning at the corners of her eyes. "Adam, why hide this from me?" He was silent for a long moment. Then, in a near whisper, he admitted, "Because if my uncle learns I'm regaining my mobility, he'll double his efforts to destroy me before I can appear strong. My entire strategy depends on him underestimating my capabilities, physically and in business. I'm sorry, Lily. I wanted to tell you, but I couldn't risk it." She wiped a stray tear. "You could have trusted me," she said, voice trembling with both relief and hurt. "I do trust you," he insisted, gently touching her arm. "I promise after the wedding, I'll come clean about everything." And though her heart felt bruised, Lily nodded. "He does trust me, but he's also terrified. So much is at stake." On the eve of the wedding, Lily discovers Adam can actually walk, though with difficulty. He confesses he's hiding it to deceive his uncle and keep the upper hand, forging a deeper, more complicated bond between them. The day of the wedding dawned bright, as if nature chose to offer one perfect day amid all the tension. The mansion's garden, usually serene, was abuzz with final preparations, chairs set out on the lawn, white roses arranged along the aisles, a small altar prepared at the center. Lily stood in her room, gazing at her reflection in a simple yet elegant ivory gown. A local makeup artist had come to do her hair and subtle makeup. She hardly recognized the radiant bride in the mirror. Mom would be so proud, she thought, heart twisting at the memory of her mother, who was still in the hospital. But at least her mother was improving every day. A soft knock sounded on the door. Charles, the lawyer, stepped in, face lit with genuine admiration. "You look lovely, Miss Evans." She smiled shyly. "Thank you. Is Adam ready?" Charles nodded. "He's waiting at the altar, in his wheelchair." He paused, clearing his throat. "I realize the circumstances are unusual, but I must say, seeing how you've cared for him, it's clear there is genuine affection between you." Lily felt her cheeks grow warm. "Thank you," she whispered. At precisely noon, Lily descended the mansion steps into the garden. A small gathering of guests, some business associates, a few distant relatives, stood as she approached the makeshift aisle. At the front, Adam waited in his dark suit, hands folded on his lap, his face a mixture of resolve and quiet anticipation. Uncle Charles and Aunt Miranda stood off to one side, their expressions dour. Lily spotted them exchanging whispered remarks, no doubt disparaging, but she refused to let their contempt overshadow the moment. The officiant raised his arms, welcoming everyone. "We are gathered here to unite Adam Beckett and Lily Evans in matrimony." Lily reached Adam's side, her heart hammering. He reached for her hand. His palm was slightly clammy, hinting at nerves, but his grip was reassuring. The officiant guided them through the vows. Lily's voice wavered with emotion as she pledged to stand by Adam's side. Adam's voice was calmer, though his eyes glistened when he repeated the traditional vows, promising to care for her in sickness and in health. Just as the officiant asked if anyone had objections, a sharp voice rang out, "I object." A hush fell, and all eyes turned to Uncle Charles, who took a single step forward. The officiant looked uncertain, glancing at Adam for direction. Adam's jaw tightened, but he spoke calmly. "What is your objection?" Charles smirked. "This wedding is a sham. My poor nephew has lied about his condition, and this young woman is nothing but an opportunist. She's after his wealth." A ripple of shock went through the small crowd. Lily saw the flash of camera phones from a couple of reporters. She felt her face heating. "Uncle, enough," Adam growled. But Charles pressed on, turning to the attendees. "Shouldn't you all know the truth? Adam can walk. He's been deceiving everyone. He pretends to be a cripple to gain sympathy and hide his machinations to claim the company." Gasps erupted. Lily's heart pounded. She sensed Adam trembling beside her, not from fear but from contained fury. A hush seized the garden, everyone waiting for Adam's response. Then, in a moment that felt suspended in time, Adam inhaled, locked his gaze with Lily, and released her hand. He pressed both hands to the arms of the wheelchair, arms taut with strain, and slowly rose to his feet. Lily moved to support him, but he gently waved her off. A collective gasp of astonishment rippled through the guests. The cameras flashed relentlessly. Uncle Charles looked smug. He likely believed he had exposed Adam's greatest lie. Adam's voice, however, rang clear. "You're right, Uncle. I can stand, and even walk, though with difficulty. But I never lied to gain sympathy. I concealed my progress because you were the one who would do anything to keep me weak, so you could steal this family's legacy and keep my parents in prison." A stunned silence befell the garden. Adam took an unsteady step forward, leaning on a cane that Lily hadn't noticed was slipped beneath his chair. He turned to the crowd. "My parents were framed for fraud. Uncle Charles manipulated the evidence. I've gathered proof which I plan to submit to the courts. As for my so-called fake marriage," he looked at Lily, eyes shining with genuine feeling. "It started as an arrangement, yes, but Lily has shown me more kindness than I ever expected. She is not a gold digger, she's the woman I respect and care for deeply." Her vision blurred with tears. Lily stepped to Adam's side, letting him lean on her for support. Uncle Charles's face morphed from smugness to anger as people began murmuring in confusion. He hadn't expected Adam to be so forthright. "You can't prove anything," Charles snapped, face flushing. Adam reached into his suit jacket, producing a small USB drive. "I have documents, financial records, witness statements, all of which confirm you orchestrated my parents' downfall to seize control of the Beckett empire." He held it up, unwavering. "The truth is coming out, Uncle." Aunt Miranda tugged on Charles's sleeve, her composure unraveling. "We should go," she hissed. Charles glared, scanning the cameras and stunned faces. "Mark my words, Adam," he snarled. "You won't get away with this." Then he turned on his heel, pushing past the parted crowd, Miranda trailing behind. In the wake of their dramatic exit, the officiant cleared his throat, voice trembling slightly from the tension. "Shall we proceed?" Adam nodded, leaning heavily on Lily. His eyes sought hers, tender and vulnerable, despite the adrenaline of the confrontation. "I do," he said softly, in answer to the officiant's question of accepting Lily as his wife. His hand trembled in Lily's grasp, but she gripped it firmly. Tears glistening, she echoed, "I do." The officiant pronounced them husband and wife, and Adam bent forward, taking cautious, trembling steps to meet Lily halfway in a gentle, earnest kiss that felt like a promise. Applause broke out, hesitant at first, then swelling with genuine support. Lily's cheeks were wet with tears when they finally pulled apart. Even in the midst of chaos and looming battles, the moment felt real. He wants me at his side, not just because of a contract, but because we've built something genuine. The small reception that followed was subdued, but surprisingly warm. Several of Adam's more sympathetic relatives and associates congratulated them, offering cautious well wishes. The press had gotten their shock headline. Lily and Adam, exhausted, slipped away to a quieter corner of the garden. "I'm sorry you had to go through that drama," Adam murmured, leaning on a bench for support, cane at his side. Lily brushed back a curl of his hair. "Don't apologize. I'm proud of you for standing, literally, and speaking the truth. No more secrets between us." He exhaled in relief, bringing her hand to his lips. "No more secrets," he promised. "We have a long fight ahead. My uncle won't go down without a fight. But together we can free my parents and reclaim our family's integrity." A gentle breeze rustled the rose bushes, carrying the scent of fresh blossoms. Lily closed her eyes, leaning her head on his shoulder. She thought of her mother, improving each day, and of her new husband, determined to right terrible wrongs. In that moment she understood how extraordinary their journey had been, from a dire phone call in a hospital corridor to this improbable wedding. Although they began as strangers bound by desperation, they were emerging as partners, forging a bond neither had foreseen. Adam pressed a soft kiss to Lily's temple. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you for taking a chance on me." She smiled through tears, voice trembling with emotion. "No, thank you for saving my mother's life, and for letting me see the real you beneath all that pain." As the sun dipped behind the mansion, they stood side by side, resolute in the face of the challenges yet to come. From the corner of the lawn, reporters snapped one last photo, the wealthy heir, once believed forever bound to a wheelchair, leaning on his devoted new wife, each of them looking forward to a tomorrow filled with hope. Thank you for joining us on this emotional journey where Lily and Adam found hope, love, and courage amidst a storm of family betrayal. We hope their story reminded you of the transformative power of resilience, honesty, and heartfelt devotion. If you'd like to explore more stories that tug at your heartstrings and inspire your spirit, be sure to subscribe to the Soul Stirring Stories channel. Share this story with friends who crave uplifting tales, and stay tuned for our next narrative packed with emotion and hope. We appreciate your support, and until next time, may love and bravery guide your path.